All right, here with Marina Alex after her 4-under first round at the Chevron Championship. Would just love to hear from you some of the highlights of your round today and what was working in your game.
Yeah, I putted really nicely today. I think that the first two holes, I didn't hit either green. They're long and they're tough holes, and I made two really good up and downs, and I think that kind of got me going. Good momentum in the right direction. Birdie both the par fives on the front and one of the par threes. So I think kind of just started rolling in the right direction, and I made a lot of nice par saves at the end when I needed to. Got away with like one really not that great shot that turned into a birdie, and then I had a really nice shot on a par three, but it was just tough for me to stop it on the green, and I ended up being in a difficult lie and just took a bogey from there. I didn't really have a lot of options to play from. So I overall patient, but I think it's going to be, a good test of golf throughout the week. It's a nice golf course. It's tough. The greens are pretty firm. So for me, coming in with some of longer clubs, maybe relative to the rest of the field, it requires me to, work pretty hard and be strategic about what I'm doing.
Amazing. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things we heard throughout early part of the week is this is a bomber's golf course. Now, you're not short, but
I'm not a
so,
bomber.
So what is it that about this that makes this work?
Today I think that, I made some really nice par putts when I hit good shots, and I just, I was over the green, and there was really not a whole lot I could do about that. So I'm hoping that I can just continue to stay patient in that, and maybe there'll be a few more accessible hole locations for the clubs that I'm hitting in, as the next 3 days goes on. But I'm going to try not to worry too much about that because I can't do anything about how far I hit the ball off the tee. So I just need to handle that as it comes. The par fives, I can, whether I'm wedging it or I can get it on the green in two, I think that for the most part, that's pretty level for the field. So I take advantage of those when I can and make sure my wedges are tight. It's just that's how I'm going to have to play out here for my game.
And to the average fan who tunes in and is accustomed to seeing a 7 or 8 or 9 under round out here, they see the 4 under leading. What would you tell them about the golf course?
I just think that if you miss in the wrong places, the up and downs become really challenging. The bunkers are super deep. The sand texture doesn't afford you a lot of spin out of the bunkers, so you're hitting from a very, deep bunker to an elevated green. It's hard to get the ball close, and there are plenty of bunkers out here. So I think that whoever manages their approach game correctly, trying to get it into the right sections of the greens, trying to avoid, the miss error that will most likely cost you a bogey. I think that's championship golf, in a nutshell. It's just really plotting your way around and trying to make as many or as few unforced errors as possible.
Marina, how would you kind of assess the year so far and how you felt about things coming into this week?
Yeah, it's been a kind of a weird year. I just feel like I've gotten up to some really slow starts. Diamond and, Hilton Grand Vacation. Singapore, those were my first 2 weeks. I didn't get off to great starts, and luckily I had 4 rounds to play, and I kind of worked through it. But even similarly in Drive On in Arizona and Palos Verdes, I just felt like I put myself behind the ball early. And actually, last week I had a really nice start for like my first 12 holes. Got off to a good start, and then I just completely tanked it after that. I ended up, I played the weekend and I just didn't get off to a good start. But I kind of was in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's a little bit of good momentum there. Let's just try and carry that into this week. And I got off to a nice start again, and I was just trying to improve upon that and really close out a solid round today, which I did, and I was really happy with. So I'm going to try and just keep building off of that. I'm not a very quick starter out of the season. It takes me a few competitive rounds to kind of get into a groove, and I'm 5th week on the road, and it's a little tiring, but I kind of need that, to get mentally competitively sharp.
Has it always been that way?
Yeah. It's just how I don't know what it is. It's really hard to simulate competition without being in competition. And some players do it much better than others. They come out of an off season and they're just guns hot, ready to roll. I've just never really been that way. And it frustrates me, and I can kind of lose patience with that. And I get discouraged and I get a little anxious about it, but it always ends up finding its groove at some point or another. So even after 10 years, I'm still learning those lessons. Thanks.
Was it hard to balance, finding that groove, going to Hawaii versus the lengthy travel, coming back there to here ahead of the major?
Yeah, it was tough going to Hawaii, but there was benefit to doing it. Like I was just explaining, for the first time all year, I had an under par round to start an event versus a par or over par round. So it was as crazy as it sounds, it definitely helped in some way. The end result of Hawaii wasn't, I mean, it was okay, it was fine, but just those little things, can really make a difference.
Do you have any thoughts coming into the week about how a strong performance here at Chevron could correlate to moving up the Solheim ranking?
Yeah, I know. We're always thinking about that. I feel like every European and American player within the Solheim year, they're stressed and they're trying to do their best to make that team, and I know how important that is. And but it's one tournament at a time, and there is a lot of time between now and then. Regardless of however this week pans out, there's still plenty of opportunities.
How important is it for you?
It is important. I definitely want to be back there playing another Solheim, and I feel, pretty good physically, so I just want my game to kind of highlight that, and I'm hoping that this is like a good start of, a good stretch of golf coming up.
Go ahead.
You mentioned you converted some pretty tough up and downs, and you made some quality putts.
Yeah.
So I take it you're not really surprised that there's not many -4s right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say. We've never been here before, and that's kind of the beauty of a brand new venue. You can play practice rounds, and everyone can speculate on what the score might be, but it really, you don't know until we're all out there playing. And there were some tough pins. The greens are not that easy. So if you're in the wrong section, or if you're chipping from the wrong area, you have a lot of slope to kind of work with and have to navigate. And then you also, the greens are pretty quick in certain places. So it doesn't surprise me that there aren't more low scores. I think there could be a lower score if the wind doesn't pick up and we get like the same weather for the afternoon and no storms roll in. I definitely could see someone, shooting 4, 5, 6 for sure. It just depends on how many putts are holed.
Like you said, though, new course and no one really knows what to expect. But have you kind of thought what the winner score could be?
No, I try really hard to just not even go there, because weather can change, conditions can change, tees, different pins, anything can happen. Someone could just get hot. You may be like, oh, this is a tough course, and then there's a million players that could shoot 9 under, at that point. It's just anyone can get hot enough to go low out here. I mean, that's how talented all of the field is. So I think it's kind of silly to put a number on it.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yep, sure.